Yo, what's up, friends? Welcome to Myfi, man. We got a great episode for you today. It is entertaining, to say the least. My friends Colt and Jason from Walrus Audio in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, are with us talking a lot of music. In this episode, I think there are more artists and probably the widest range I've ever heard of artists mentioned. So check out the show notes for sure, because there's going to be a list. There's a list down there of artists that we talk about. It was an incredible conversation. We got to talk about some stuff off the top, but we're gonna get into it. Let's get into it. Yes, it is time to do the show. Welcome to this episode. It's going to be a good one. You're going to enjoy it. Before you do anything else, hit subscribe wherever you're at. If you're on Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, whatever, YouTube, if you're watching, subscribe to the YouTube channel. So you know when we're posting episodes. We're posting a lot of episodes. Just had Britt Lightning on the show last week from Vixen. If you need to go back and catch up on episodes, go back and catch up on it. But today we got Colt Westbrook and Jason Stulce from Walrus Audio. They are the presidents. Colt's the president CEO of Walrus Audio, and Jason is the lead designer and engineer there. He kind of does all the ideas and the engineering and electrical whatever. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. He just does all the cool stuff, and they're a killer company. Killer guys, super nice. In fact, we've been running a giveaway with them that just ended. And at the end of the show today, I'm going to announce the winner. They have a pedal called Loeb, and it is a reverse soundscape generator. It's like a reverb delay. It makes nice ambient, big sounds. It's super cool. And we're going to announce the winner at the end of the show. So stick around, listen all the way through the end. It's going to be awesome. We're going to announce that. But before we jump in, I went to a show the other night, actually. My friend Jonathan and I went to a local show, and you know, there's magic in these local shows. I don't know if you've been to a local show. Like, I go to concerts. I'm sure you go to concerts. Like my wife and I just saw David Gray last night here in Atlanta. I go to concerts pretty regularly, but it's like, you know, artists that are like well known, and they're not like small local shows. But I love going to small local shows, and I haven't been to one in a really long time. But last week, my friend Jonathan and I drove over to Athens, Georgia, and we saw several bands. Two stick out in my mind. One, I'm wearing a t-shirt. If you're watching on YouTube, I got my Pretty Embers t-shirt on. Pretty Embers is a great band from Nashville, Tennessee, and they were awesome. It was great. We were on the roof of the Georgia Theater in Athens, and it was just a killer show. Jonathan and I were just like, man, what a good vibe. There was a ton of people there, friends of the bands, people checking them out. Pretty Embers killed it. They're on tour right now, just touring around the Southeast, and they're just great guys. So go check them out on Apple Music or Spotify or whatever you listen to your music on. There was another band that night called Well Kept, and they were fantastic as well. So I just want to give those bands a shout out and tell you, go to a local show. If you haven't been to a show, I feel like, you know, I go to shows at Tabernacle here in Atlanta, and Masquerade, and, you know, the Benz Dome, and, you know, all that sort of stuff. And those shows are amazing. It's artists I want to see. But there was something magical watching this show on the roof of the Georgia Theater the other night. And these bands that are up and coming and touring and trying to break out, you know, they're just hungry, and they're writing great songs, and they're great players, and they're just cool people. So go find Pretty Embers and Well Kept, you know, on streaming services and whatnot, but also go to local shows. I think you should totally do that. But anyway, on the show today, on the show today, Colt Westbrook, Jason Stulce from Walrus Audio. Walrus is a company that is based out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I mentioned before, they make guitar effects pedals. I use tons of them. I love them. I've known them for a long time. I met Jason years and years and years ago. We didn't meet, but we exchanged a couple of emails because I bought an amp from him a long time ago. Maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 years. I don't know. Long time ago. And later we connected at the NAMM show in Nashville. I think it was the summer of 2015. But that was the first time we ever met. And ever since then, I've gotten to kind of work alongside of them a little bit and test a pedal here or there when they're working on prototypes for new pedals and products and stuff. And so, man, they're just super nice guys. They work with all kinds of bands like New Respects, Lord Huron, Dawes, Julian Baker, Walk the Moon. Tons of people play Walrus audio pedals. So even if you're not a guitar player, you're just a music fan, or you listen to Myfi for some other reason, you don't know anything about guitar pedals. It's cool because the bands that you love, they may be using some Walrus stuff. I mean, likely so. Who knows? Because it's awesome, and a lot of people do use it. And like I said, they're just super nice. We've been doing this giveaway with them. We're going to announce the winner at the end of the show today. These guys know good music. They know good gear. They're good people. So I hope you enjoy this episode with my friends Jason and Colt from Walrus Audio. What's up, fellas? How are you?
We made it. How's it going?
You did. It's going good, man. Good. Where are you guys, in the office?
We're in the office. Yeah, we're in our studio here at Walrus.
The Studes.
Nice. I think I've been in there, actually. I think, is it next door?
Yep.
Like it's kind of like a newer place. I think the last time I was there, it was like being put together, maybe.
Yes, it still is being put together.
But what isn't?
So what you're in right
the
now
studio
is just,
much like my heart.
Yeah. So what you're in right now is just like, it's just
quick?
the appearance. That's a background. Yeah. It's not even like a real computer or anything behind you. In the shot.
That's a green screen.
It is, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I know y'all are in Oklahoma. Where are you guys from originally? Are y'all both from Oklahoma City?
I am from Oklahoma City. Yeah, Deaconess Hospital, 50th in Portland, and
nice.
And I lived in Texas for 8 years growing up. The growing up years were in Texas.
Oh, where was that?
Powderly.
I have no idea where that
Texas.
is.
Paris, Texas, northeast corner, the best area in Texas.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that is literally not the best area of Texas.
It's so good, though. It really is. I fished every day.
Yeah. Sentimentalism doesn't equal fact. But
where are you from, Colt?
I was born in Miami, Florida. And
really?
Then, childhood in Austin, Texas.
Nice.
And then teenage years, I count growing up, Stillwater, Oklahoma. So I call Stillwater home.
So is Oklahoma like, is it Oklahoma State, Oklahoma? That's a big deal, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, the Thunder brings us together, but yeah.
Okay. Which one?
Thunder's like dead center.
Which one are you guys? Oklahoma State?
Stillwater's where Oklahoma State is. So
yeah, that's why I asked.
I grew up going to Cowboys games,
Okay.
Family from OU, so I OU.
And you guys get along okay, huh?
Yeah, no, we get along okay.
Yeah, right. It's easy.
Here's the deal: like real Oklahomans root for both until they're playing each other.
Until it's bedlam, and
shallow people root for the other team to lose, and that's honestly like probably 7% of the population. But they are the most vocal.
This is going to be a great episode.
Yeah, I'm all about. I want the Sooners to win lots of stuff. Just I don't want them to win bedlam. Bedlam is when they play each other. In November,
for all of the music lovers out there who are into college football as well, which I feel like is a lot of people.
But dude, this whole SEC BS is
we're like getting into this is a college football podcast.
The Cowboys, I mean, the whole Cowboys side is just like looking at OU, being like, "What are y'all doing?" I mean, it's hilarious. It's so funny.
Don't really know.
Well, I'm glad y'all are there now. I'm glad Walrus exists. I told everybody before a show. In the show opening, I love these pedals. I've used them for a really long time. It was great to find the products, but also great to get to know you guys. And so, like, when you were growing up, subsequently, I guess Colt, maybe in Miami, maybe in Austin, and Jason, for you, maybe you were in Texas at the time. But like, when was the first time you remember like hearing music and it having like a huge effect on you?
I was in a bar. I'm just kidding.
For real?
You were four.
Yeah. They do it different in Austin. I think for me, it was, I think it was cassette tapes on like a stereo, like the home stereo, It was it was either that or alarm clock radio. There was a lot of alarm clock radio in my bedroom.
Are there songs that stick out?
Literally every 90s country song. It was K95.5, Today's Hot New Country. That's it. I didn't change it. I like had it marked, on the little window. So if it did get bumped, it was like it didn't take me forever to find it again. Presets,
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of Beach Boys and John Denver from my mom's, when my mom was picking the tunes. And then when my dad was picking music, it was like music scores from films.
Really?
So it was like really heavy dinner.
Emotional.
Like we were listening to like Lonesome Dove or Backdraft or like really really heavy music. Or
I couldn't think of two more unrelated movies.
Yeah, like what is
Les Mis, like a lot of Les Mis. No, seriously. And it was
sometimes you're gonna have to say seriously. Your sense of humor, I hardly ever know if you're being serious or not.
That was for real.
Serious,
That was for real. And I think those are like the early stuff I remember. So I was very much into Beach Boys and John Denver. Those were like true north, by age 6.
That's crazy.
I want to find the soundtrack to Backdraft now because I'm just intrigued. Like, what is that like?
It's heavy.
Yeah,
it's heavy.
Apparently, dude. I feel like you've got some stuff going on we need to talk about from listening to it.
Well, it's good heavy. It just grow up with a bigger heart.
Did that stuff inspire you though? Like eventually you guys pick up guitars and you get interested in music.
Yeah.
I mean, you led to an effects company. So like what were there songs back then that you were like, hey, I listened to this and then I get into music and this was like a breaking point for me. Like the first time you heard live music or the first time you heard music maybe and just went like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I feel like music hits your heart and then it hits your mind sometimes. And then sometimes music like hits your whole body. And that's when you want to do something,
Yeah.
And I remember music like hitting my heart early on, like Beach Boys, John Denver, and the Backdraft soundtrack. And then music hitting my mind when I heard like, Jars of Clay for the first time or DC Talk, or even when I turned my radio on and I heard Ace of Base for the first time. That was like, this is amazing, but I feel like music hit my body for the first time when I wanted to like do something and mess stuff up. When I heard Third Eye Blind, in 1990, I think it was 97 with the debut album. That album wrecked me.
Yeah.
This is the 25th anniversary of that record. It's actually being re-released on vinyl this month.
Last week.
Yeah. Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
It was pretty awesome. I was fresh off of collarbone surgery with painkillers and it was really
a great experience.
That'll make a Smash Mouth concert great.
It sure, yeah. I mean, I could go to Daughtry on that combo, but
it's actually what the painkillers were called.
Big love for Smash Mouth, by the way. The debut album was unreal.
Yeah. I think for me, like it's quintessential, maybe, and nostalgic for sure. But just living in the country like we did, and only listening to country music, it was. I just never heard anything. Well, right out of the gate, it was music that was so relatable. It was like I'm living this, which I know we kind of like make fun of it now. It's definitely a stereotype, but it was real. For me and for our family and friends, that's all we knew. And
what we had was real.
No, I
thought what we had was real.
It was.
You made it sound like,
a lot of time outside, just doing you name it, and it was just really relatable. On the music side of things, though, the sound, that was just like that's it is like all the Brent Mason stuff, all the '90s intro turnaround licks that he did on countless people's records. And that's where I think my love for the Telecaster came before I even knew what that was. I was hearing it, not realizing this is a Tele and a deluxe reverb and some dirt pedal and that's it. But now I can't play any of that stuff very well at all, but that's like the sound that I love the most, period. And I try to make that sound work in a lot of different arenas because I love it. And that's where it came from. And I'm just now putting that together. So this has been really great for me.
That's awesome.
Right on.
I think the best players are, to me, this is my unbiased opinion and my certainly very biased opinion. But I think the best players are playing country music, There's just nowhere to hide.
There's nowhere to hide. There's no pedal board to play.
It's all about the emotion. It's all about the tonality.
Timing.
And it's all about timing. it's all about the riff, you know.
Yeah.
It's all about the riff, the tone.
Yeah, it's
you
one of
can't
those
hide
things
behind like swells and reverbs and pads and
in
all
like
that kind of stuff.
creative,
you know,
use of pedals, which we love. But
yeah, we do. We're a pedal company. God, I hate reverb, dude.
Yeah, I had a conversation the other day or a week ago with a guy about 90s country and just real, I don't think in the moment we knew what it was going to be. But if you talk to anybody, it's just incredible. Like that era, there's not a lot of things like it, right? I mean, you don't know in the moment, but hindsight's everything. And I would just encourage anybody to pull up Spotify and 90s Top 100 playlist, just put that on.
Because back then they were, it was kind of like pop outcasts, you know? And it was
the players, you mean?
Yeah, well, just in general, I feel like 90s, 80s, 90s country, building off what was built in the 50s through 70s.
How are you going to put the 50s through 70s all together?
But
do you think that the 90s? You think that was 90s music though? Like 90s country was killer, but 90s hip hop was also killer.
Yeah, you could say it. You're right.
So I don't know, and I know we're a little bit apart in age, but like I agree. I wasn't a huge country fan, but I was a fan, and my older brother listened to it all the time. I would hear him, we'd ride to the store or whatever in his Bronco in 1991, 92, whatever, listening to No Fences, And so I remember it was great.
Yeah. I think everybody was I think the 80s was taking country out of the equation, but the 80s was just, honestly, I feel like it was exhausting with the production level and the glam and the perfection and the show. And I think there was just a lot of theater in the 80s. And I think, grunge was the answer for the release valve for the theater, and so, which made a way for like singer-songwriters and grunge artists to then be top 40, which wouldn't happen today. I mean, Lisa Loeb wouldn't be on the radio today, and neither would, Mazzy Star or Indigo Girls, but that for some reason that was in, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a perfect storm, right? It's a lot of things that play into it, and certainly what came before it is probably the biggest factor.
Yeah.
I never thought about the singer-songwriter. No. I love hair metal, but I've never thought about the singer-songwriter angle. That's really interesting because my wife and I actually saw David Gray last night here in Atlanta.
There's a good example. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, again, huge 20 years ago. And like, I told 5 people I was going to see him this week and they were like, who? I'm like, oh man, it kind of hurts a little.
It's the best makeout soundtrack, David Gray.
Totally.
It's great.
So you're listening to all this 90s country, Colt, Beach Boys, all that stuff. At some point, what was the first piece of music that you each purchased, like with your own money? Now you get to make a choice. Like, what did you go get the first time?
Yeah.
And was it cassette, CD? What format was it?
I mean, growing up in the church, we were Christian bookstore all the time, which is tiny. It's not like it is now. I don't even know what it is now, but it was just mom and pop. Definitely was DC Talk, Jesus Freak. I think it was a CD, which that album, is I think still one of the best albums around. It's so good.
Yeah, that was a game changer in that genre, man.
Yeah, but there's so many good things about it.
I think the first piece of music I purchased by myself, I think, was the Jars of Clay tape, like that debut, where it's like all drum machine and acoustic guitars, which as an early musician is awesome because you're like, I could do this.
Were you already playing? Were you already playing? Were you already playing music when
I was already playing guitar? Yeah, and so I remember, it's a horrible songbook to purchase for your first songbook.
Jars of Clay?
Yeah, because it's all like alt tunings and
for
stuff.
Sure.
It's
You take that to your guitar teacher and they're like, what?
I just bought this guitar. What do you mean change the tuning? I do not understand. But I remember like several holy experiences, buying albums and things like that. I think in most, I ripped a lot of albums off of babysitters too. Like they come over and bring their albums. I'd like take their CDs out of their jackets and put them in mine. So yeah, that's why I had Shania Twain Up. So
that's not why.
Yeah, you're right. I bought that one.
That's
man.
funny. Did that lead you
Yeah.
guys like to usually, because I find there's like often a connection with like the first music that you purchase and the first concert that you get to see. Do y'all remember the first show you ever went to?
Yeah,
Oh.
I do. Dude, we're doing like youth group reunion right now because I
Oh,
went
yeah?
to Smalltown Poets.
No.
Smalltown
my
Poets
gosh.
was my first. Yeah, they came to Stillwater.
Oh, I do remember.
And,
that.
oh,
Okay,
dude,
good.
no, dude, you finish.
No.
Dude.
Sorry.
I
It's like
cut
I
in.
wouldn't
I
normally-
interrupted.
Was I talking while you were?
Golly. I went to Smalltown Poets at the Stillwater Community Center. That's it.
At the Stillwater Community Center? Yeah. Did
Was
you
it
like
great?
Was
No,
it?
it
Yeah.
was really good. I just remember like hearing guitar like really loud. It was the first time I'd ever heard that, you know,
Yeah.
because I hadn't heard that anywhere. But it was like there's electric guitar and it's very loud and it is really cool. I love that.
Moving some air.
He had like a Les Paul. You know what those are?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're out of Tennessee.
That's all your boy Lee used to play.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Used to. Yeah.
yeah. They've got
Did you say they're out of Tennessee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, they're out of
Over there
Tennessee.
in
They got
Tennessee?
they got a cutaway on them so you can play higher on the neck. It's super innovative.
Yeah.
The cutaways do.
They're also good at putting you in the chiropractor chair.
Yeah.
They weigh a
For sure.
bit. That's for
Coming
sure.
way a bit.
in at 55 pounds. Can't fly with them.
Yeah.
But
What's
you'll
the
die-
harness for? It's my guitar strap.
You'll
What do you
die
mean?
with them.
Uh,
I heard
What
there's
was
one that stays in tune.
Sonicflood. Very similar.
Oh, wow.
Sonicflood somewhere not or in my town. We had to drive to some other larger town.
I bet you had to drive to an amusement
I
park.
think it was no,
Frontier City.
it wasn't. It was like a community center.
Schlitterbahn.
It for sure was a community center, but I don't remember the town.
Did you ever,
And-
did
and
either one
very
of you, or
Okay.
did either one of you ever see those bands a second time?
No.
No.
It's
I-
interesting.
I might. I just never
Next
had
question.
The,
No.
it was
Uh,
terrible.
No,
It's
not
just
because
interesting.
of any
No,
other
I just
reason.
it wasn't accessible. I didn't have any way to.
Yeah, no, I get it. The only reason I ask is sometimes when you get to see a band once and then you see them years later,
Yeah.
you know, when you're so young and you see a band the first time and then maybe you get to see them, 15 years later and you're playing guitar and you're, whatever.
Oh,
It's a different experience, same band. But were there
Yeah.
shows throughout the years that you guys go, these are like the top two bands I've ever seen live?
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, I for sure know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that for you?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
That's sweet of you. So this is off the wall for me a little bit. I don't listen to this band like regularly. I definitely did in the heyday, but Muse.
Yeah.
That's a
They
good
came
one.
and played in Oklahoma City at the big arena here, and that show was one of the best concerts I've ever seen, and it just sticks with me. I mean, I've seen a lot of concerts, but yeah, I mean, just every aspect of it, lighting to sound to the band,
What tour
playing
was
all
that?
these songs.
Do you remember the record?
No, I don't.
Was it when they were here at the Ford Center?
Yeah, it's when. They've only played here once.
Yeah, that was after. I think it was Black Holes and Revelations.
Okay.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the other one is the most recent John Mayer tour.
Sob
Oh,
Rock.
wow.
Sobrock.
We were
with,
together.
We were together with who's the band? Pino Palladino, Aaron Sterling,
Oh, man.
like
David
and
Ryan Harris.
David Ryan Harris. I mean, it was like okay, and we were. Yeah, it was awesome.
I was,
it was
yeah,
just
I
awesome.
just remember like I'm watching some of the best musicians.
Like, it doesn't probably
on the
get-
planet
right.
in Dallas.
It was awesome.
That's
That's
I think
amazing.
for me, so I saw the Goo Goo Dolls and Third Eye Blind play together.
That's a good combo.
I know.
Oh my
I saw them
gosh.
play together. In Stillwater, they used to have this big show called Orange Peel. That was when school started back up for all the college kids.
They played in Stillwater.
They played Orange Peel, yeah. and so I went with my girlfriend and some friends, and so I was so Third Eye Blind opened for Goo Goo Dolls
Sure.
because yeah, Iris has nothing on so much on
No.
life. Actually, opposite. Yeah, opposite way around.
I know what you mean.
But it was right after It was right after for Third Eye Blind. It was right before Out of the Vein came out, and everybody listen's going to be like, "Why is he talking about Third Eye Blind so much?" But if you're a guitar player,
because Colt loves Third Eye Blind,
and you go and listen to the first 3 Third Eye Blind albums, and you listen to the master work of Kevin Cardigan and then Tony Fredinelli on guitars, and even Aaron Salazar on bass. I mean, there's some unreal sounds.
Are you hearing this right now?
On those 3 albums. I mean,
it's Third Eye Blind fanboy over here,
and everybody's like, "Oh, are they like Bowling for Soup and all those other bands?" No, it's not. they get lumped into like the '90s alt rock stuff, but what was happening on those albums was otherworldly. And so
he's a great writer.
Going to that concert was pretty formidable. But then I remember in college I went to, I saw in one show, the opener was Lupe Fiasco.
Oh my god!
And then after him played NERD, while Pharrell was with him.
Wow!
And then after NERD played, Rhianna played, and
where was this?
Umbrella had in Dallas, and Umbrella had just come out, and then headlining was Kanye West. And that,
good gracious!
Wow!
I was a different person after that night.
That doesn't seem fair.
Like I went in a boy and I came out a man. For sure.
That's an amazing lineup, dude, especially at that time.
I felt like I was in a Netflix documentary.
That is crazy.
Netflix
dude.
wasn't even around back then, and that's how important it was. I was like, I feel like I'm in a Netflix documentary, and all my friends were like, "What is Netflix?"
That is hey, let me stoke the Third Eye Blind fire just a second.
Oh, please do.
One of my favorite guitar tones, just sounds, is in 1,000 Julys. It's on the Blue record. I don't know why, man. That song, and I know, like, I'm not a huge, like, I don't know the catalog. You know what I'm saying? I love that band, but I don't know the catalog super well. But that song in particular, the sound, I'm like,
I feel like. Yeah, it was like the final stages of 100-watt amps and wah pedals, but it was in a way where it was so tasteful and so musical that it kind of snuck in and you didn't really realize what was happening. And it's masterful. It really is. I go back to it. I still go back to it a lot.
He sure does.
Yeah.
Are there bands like that? I mean, obviously you talked about a few things that inspired you personally, but like you guys, now own a pedal company, and so you're making these sounds for people. Were there artists along the way that have inspired pedal designs and sounds and things, and what are some of your favorites of those?
I think one of the ones early on where I specifically remember like hearing sounds and then we need to replicate that in guitar pedals was some early Dawes stuff and then some Blake Mills work, like when Hi-Ho came out, and then just kind of that Filmo sound amp. What am I trying to do? That 385. What's the word, Jason?
Breakup.
No, what's the name of the amp? The amp that they do.
Oh, 385.
Yeah.
The projector.
Like the projector. Yeah, it's like the Model 385.
And then hearing, I think hearing harmonic tremolo really was very inspiring. Which, I mean, it wasn't like a new thing; it had been around for decades. But hearing it, kind of in a modern singer-songwriter, modern rock context, was super inspiring. And we went and made the 385. Overdrive pedal, and then the Monument harmonic tremolo from those things. And then, even early on, I remember listening to Saturdays Equals Youth from M83. And then just thinking like, oh my gosh, like, are they really putting chorus back on the guitars? I thought that was over. I thought we were done with that. I thought chorus had died.
Yeah.
But that's the first time I heard it, like post 1990, early 90s was when Saturdays Equals Youth came out. And
then the Ryan Adams record.
Oh yeah.
The
one
self-titled record just is everywhere.
The Gimme Something Good album, whatever that's called. Clean jazz master and chorus. And that from there, I think the Julia came out of that
Yeah, for sure.
inspiration from those
Yeah.
kind of things. So,
What about
yeah,
you, Jason?
and then,
Like,
other stuff along the way. I take all your answers.
No. I think back, there was a lot of influence. I think probably subconscious. I don't like focus on sounds
sure.
a lot or like recall them a lot, but definitely a lot of like musical influence came from early days of building little amplifiers in the garage with my buddy Kendall and or our buddy Kendall. And
Thank you.
he and still is just like light years ahead of me in terms of like musical IQ. So I got into a lot of what I got into because of him, because he would play it. And I would just, every time we got together, it's like, I'm learning something new that I should know.
Yeah.
Right. So I was just like ready for like, what are we listening to today? You know? And I'm pretty sure that's when I think one of the records he showed me was that, definitely was, Aqualung.
Yeah.
This is like a band back then that we listened a lot to. I'm trying to remember the album name. I wrote this down because I don't go back to it. Oh, Memory Man, yeah. And then Cardigans,
Yes.
which I know you're a fan of, right?
Yes.
Was another one. Gran Turismo was formidable, definitely from a sound, from a parts perspective, from a guitar tone perspective.
What's the name of the one? What's the name of the album that the Cardigans did though in the early 2000s? That
Bringing Down the Horse.
To?
No, that was Wallflowers. No. There was a song on that record called A Good Horse. That's what made me think that. It's called Long Gone Before Daylight.
Long Gone Before Daylight.
Dude, the guitar tones on that album are...
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's like a telly into a crank
It's like the best
down.
part of the album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is like, who is doing this?
Yeah.
It's so pro.
Yeah. So that's some of mine.
Shoot.
I mean, definitely.
I got another weird one though.
Yeah, go.
For some guitar tones. You want to hear some guitar tones? This album changed the way I played electric guitar.
I love it.
But Sarah McLaughlin, Afterglow.
Oh yeah.
That album.
Yeah.
The guitar, it's all hidden behind, Sarah's magnificent songwriting, but her Axemen on that album completely outdid themselves. What they did, they didn't make songs, they made moments.
Write that down.
Going
when
deep.
A guitar player,
tweet it.
Yeah. When a guitar player can not make a song or a hook, but they can create moments, and they go to the next level. That's when I was like, oh, playing guitar is more important than we think it is. And so what it really does is it really, I feel like good and effective guitar playing elevates the song into a moment with the listener where change happens in the heart and in the mind. And Sarah McLaughlin's Afterglow album brought me to that. I was like, something special here.
That's rich, dude.
I'm
gonna go.
Yeah,
listen
and
to
nobody's talking about the guitars on that album. They're all talking about the songs. But it's
do you know who
the
played?
guitars that support the songs?
Do you know who played on that?
I used to. I used to look it up, and I looked up where they are now, but I didn't do that research for the podcast. But I want all the listeners to go.
I'm gonna go look it up. Yeah,
Dude.
yeah, I'm gonna go look it up.
It's great.
So you guys,
honestly, the album before that is also just as good. Surfacing, the guitars on that album are. Yeah, she found a good band. All right, go Lee. Sorry.
This no. This may be one of the things I always do on the show is put all the artists we talk about in the show notes. So if stuff's going fast and you're listening to the podcast and you're going, oh, what did they say? You can always rewind, but at the same time, you can just look in the show notes and go, oh, here's all the bands. This may be the widest array of bands I've ever had in show notes.
I was gonna say earlier, I am for sure all over the map, and I lean more probably towards singer songwriter nowadays for sure.
Yeah.
But I have a pretty eclectic, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Yeah. I'll listen to anything. I had a friend say that a long time ago, and I was just like, I don't know if I can. And then it's like, no, I think I can. I'll listen. I may not enjoy it, but I'll listen. But that's led me just a lot of directions with musical taste.
Some of my favorite albums don't really have a lot of guitar.
Yeah. Yeah, I go
as a guitar player, sometimes that's what makes it nice to listen to.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. I go through those phases too.
I got way into Peter Gabriel's "So" album right when COVID started, when the world started shutting down. I just remember like going back to that album, and that album saved my sanity in early 2002. And there's not a lot of guitar happening on that album.
Yeah.
There's a lot of heavy keys. There's a lot of just, bass with the high mids turned way up, for some extra aggression. And there's some killer songs on there that make you want to rip through a bag of feed,
Oh man,
a bag of feed. That's the most Oklahoma thing you've said the whole time.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Awesome.
Hey, who are some of your favorite artists that you've heard, that you've gotten to hear or heard that they are using like stuff that you guys created, like pedals that you've made, designed?
Nobody uses our stuff. I'm just teasing.
That is not true.
Do you have a good answer to this?
I mean, there's a guy in Atlanta.
This happens all the time. I go to like family get-togethers, and they're like, "So what do you do again?" And I'm like, "I do, make guitar pedals with some people." And they're like, "Oh, like a guitar store?" I'm like, "No, it's." And they're like, "What artists use your?" Then they say, "What artists use your pedals?" And I always
we always freeze.
Like blank.
I'm like, I don't remember.
No, yeah. I mean, I don't. There's a lot of great answers to that. I just don't. I don't dwell on that a lot.
I've kind of intentionally, I don't know, I kind of stay out of that world. Like, we do have like an artist relations guy here, and I know that I used to be able to name every Walrus pedal that was on whoever's board several years ago. But I feel like it clouds my vision some of the times,
Like you kind of don't want to know it, don't want to dwell on it.
It's like, it's kind of like artists like releasing albums and then never listening to them again. They play them on tour, but they don't like listen to it on the radio, or they don't like read reviews about it. And I don't know. That's how I feel sometimes about.
I've gotten to where I hear things, I hear songs, and pick out sounds and wonder if that's something that we did. Like if it's an artist I know is like using our stuff, I wonder. There's a lot of ways to skin the cat, when it comes to the chorus, but sometimes I'm like, well, it sounds like a Julia. I wonder if that's a Julia. Or I know it is. It's really cool. Or it sounds like it's a vibrato sound. I wonder if that's a Julia.
I remember watching like Robbin Ford like record in the studio using the Ages, and that was pretty special.
Wow.
Yeah. Or I remember like watching Colony House use the Julia when we were in the studio, when we went and saw him in the studio. And that was really special. Or I remember like Drew Shirley texted me. He's like, "Dude, check out Switchfoot Float." And I listened to it, and he's like, "That's the Julia at the beginning." And I was like, "Oh, that's pretty tight." Or, Jared Scharf is also really good at sending us stuff that he's playing on a lot of hip hop records. Using Congra, using Julia, using Slow. It's always fun to see that, I guess.
Yeah,
I just kind of talk myself out of it. Now I'm talking myself back into it.
Yeah, well, it's fun to be inspired, man. You guys should feel great about the work you've done. Like, you're putting tools in people's hands to make these records that, like, there's a generation of kids who are listening to stuff now who feel the same way about what they're listening to as you guys felt about 90s country and the Beach Boys and Jars of Clay and whatever was inspiring you. But now, like, you're getting to make the tools that artists are using to make the sounds they hear in their head to create the next generation of, music. Like, my daughter and my son are both heavy into, they just love music. They both have record players in their rooms and all that sort of stuff. And one of the records that gets stolen from room to room a lot right now is the new Harry Styles album.
Oh,
and
stop. Yeah. I mean,
man,
gracious.
It's so good. Like, there's still great music coming out, and you guys are making those tools.
Isn't it nice to see the young ones like Harry Styles just do it right? So good.
I like that character.
God bless him.
That record is unreal.
I mean that though.
It's so good.
Yeah,
kidding in
really,
the delivery,
really
serious in the content.
Yeah. No, I feel you. What's one of the things I mentioned in the show opening that I really want to ask before our time runs out? You guys have a segment, or in the past have had a segment on the YouTube channel called Songs from the Shop. or something like that. Yeah, where people come in and play. Has there been one of those that you guys are just like, man, it just caught me off guard, like, or just was an amazing experience? You knew it was going to be, but it was just amazing.
Yeah. Mine. I mean, there's a lot. All of them are really cool experiences in their own way. But Taylor Goldsmith Dawes coming in with his acoustic guitar, and we're just gonna like set it up and let the cameras roll, and then we're like about ready to go, and then it started raining, and it was like, oh well, because it's gonna take forever. We got to let the rain stop, which in Oklahoma, tomorrow it's gonna stop maybe. But we just like we said, wait, hold on, like we threw a large diaphragm condenser mic underneath a car outside to keep it dry to catch the rain, opened up the back door, and then let it roll. So it's like Taylor playing just like 3 songs and it's that calm, steady rain, right? Not a storm. So it was like, if you could ask for rain to be in a shoot, that's the rain that we got. Yeah. And
is that still
Northerners?
Is that up on
rain.
YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Okay, I'm gonna link that in the show notes because that sounds like something everybody needs to watch.
It's incredible. And that also, I think, had there. You'll see a PCB if in some of the shots, like down on the ground, like a pedal, but not in an enclosure.
Oh wow!
I'm pretty sure that's the Fathom prototype on his vocal.
Yeah.
Wow!
And it's like just thrown down, like it's a mess on the ground.
The plate setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. And for me, it was so if you do any kind of music in Oklahoma and you're making a go at it, or in music instruments industry or anything like that, you have some kind of strange connection to the Hanson brothers, So I remember.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, everybody's like, oh yeah.
Really? That's a thing. That's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really,
dude. We could do.
They're the best.
We could do a 6-part series on Hanson after Bop.
We should.
They are so smart. They're some of the smartest people on the planet.
They're awesome.
That's amazing. I mean, I don't doubt that. Just the connection thing blows my mind.
Yeah. So I remember us wanting to do Songs of the Shop with Mute Math, but they were playing in Tulsa. But everybody was big Mute Math fans for obvious reasons. So we're like, how can we do a Songs of the Shop, but in Tulsa? So they're playing at Kane's Ballroom, and 2 blocks down from Kane's Ballroom in Tulsa is Hanson Brothers Studio. And so I just text Isaac. I'm like, hey, super random, but next Saturday morning, can we use your studio to film Songs at the Shop with Mute Math? And then he was like, yeah, totally. That sounds awesome. So he met me there early in his 98 4Runner on his way to take his kid to a basketball game.
Yeah.
And so
like,
first of all, I was like,
it
was like, you're an international pop star and you're driving a 98 4Runner. I love you so much. And so he unlocked it and let us set up in there. And I just remember sitting there recording Mute Math. Darren King was still playing drums, but he had like a drum. He used a drum pad the whole time. And it was like so full. It was crazy. But I remember sitting there while they were recording in Hanson Studio. I'm kind of like, what is this? This is amazing.
I was the DK cameraman, so I was like 2 feet in front of him the whole time.
Yeah, it was pretty tight.
Oh my God.
That was a good one.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there's also one on there from Songs of the Shop that really snuck up on me. I was like, I had just gotten back from vacation, and like if you go back to work after vacation, doesn't matter what your job is or where you were, you're sad the first day back. So I remember just showing up Monday and they're filming Songs of the Shop, and I was like, I don't even care about who these guys are. I hate them, and I hate that they're in my shop. And I was like, who are these people? And and I honestly at that time I hadn't heard of them. I didn't know who they were, but it was Jake McMullen and his band, and they played 2 songs. Dude, I was healed. I like those songs, and
it was awesome.
And that specific Songs of the Shop is probably my favorite because they unleashed some songs and some tones that were just medicine for people. And for me, that one was number 1.
That was an early one. That was in the first shop. We've moved 2 other times since then, but there were some really good ones in that shop.
Yeah.
Like like Lord Huron was in there.
Yeah. Thrice was in that shop.
Thrice was in there. Yeah.
Wow.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Well, guys, thank you so much. the conversation like this always seems to go by so fast, but I appreciate what you guys are doing. I mean, myself as an artist, I use tons of what you make. I don't know how I would work without them at this point. But I appreciate you guys, man. You guys go check out Walrus Audio. If you're a guitar player, you probably already know about them. If you're not, go watch the Songs from the Shop videos on their YouTube channel. You can get there from walrusaudio.com. Follow them on Instagram at Walrus Audio Effects. If you're a guitar player, you're going to want to keep up. They just released a compressor called a Mira that's awesome. I just put it on my board. A pedal called Lore that's a reverse soundscape generator. We talked about, we've been doing a giveaway. We're going to announce the winner here at the end of this episode here in just a minute. And so, man, I appreciate the time, fellas. Go check out everything that these guys are doing because they're awesome human beings and an incredible company. So, all right, boys.
Man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, you too.
So
Love
nice.
you guys. Oh, man, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome.
That's
Have a good
great.
one, guys.
See you, Lee. Bye.
Bye. Man, wasn't that awesome? I want to give a big old shout out, big thank you to Jason and to Colt. Make sure you follow those guys on social media. Walrus, the company, is at Walrus Audio Effects on Instagram. Jason is at Jason Stulce. Colt is at Colt Westbrook. All this stuff will be in the show notes, so you can go follow those guys on Instagram and keep up with everything that they have going on and the company has going on. I mentioned a couple of pedals that they just released, Lore and Mira, which is a compressor pedal. If you're a guitar player, you care about those sorts of things. So please go check out their stuff. It's awesome. They're just fantastic folks too. So go check them out. I want to thank them for being on the show and thank them for sponsoring the giveaway that we've done over the last 10 days or so. And I want to announce the winner at this time. At Nate Stole Your Tone. Nate. Stole is spelled differently than you would expect. Stoll, your tone. At Nate Stole Your Tone is the winner of a Walrus Audio Lore ambient reverse soundscape generator. I think I got all the words in there right there. So congrats, Nate. We're going to get that shipped out to you. I'm going to hit you up on Instagram and we'll get that shipped out to you. Hey, make sure that you're following Myfi on social media at Myfi Podcast everywhere. YouTube. Make sure you go subscribe to the channel, subscribe wherever you're listening, rate and review. That's always super helpful. It helps the podcast show up a little bit easier when people search it, looking for it, all that sort of stuff. And just thanks for being here. This is so much fun talking to people about the music that influences them and inspires them in their lives and in their career. And so I just appreciate you listening. And until next time, have a good one.